Well, hey there, it's Mr. Thompson with a video math lesson talking about similar triangles and how to determine whether or not triangles are similar. And there's a few rules, okay? Rules for similarity with triangles, and they're a lot like the rules for congruent triangles. Very, very similar, just some distinct differences that we'll talk about here. So if you've seen that video on congruent triangles, you'll find this very familiar. But note some very important differences. Okay, so we have some very similar abbreviations. SSS stands for side, 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 and with congruence, all the sides had to be congruent. With similarity, it's a little bit different because the two similar triangles are not going to have congruent sides. But what they're going to have is sides where if you take the ratio of corresponding sides. So for example, A and P would be corresponding, like the shortest one on this triangle would correspond to the shortest one on that triangle. So if you take the ratio of A to P, then that's going to be equal to the ratio of other corresponding sides. So say the mid-length side on this triangle corresponds with the mid-length one here, B and R, okay? That first ratio, A over P, is going to be equal to B over R. And finally, they're all going to be, those two ratios are going to be equal to the ratio of the longest side on each triangle, C over Q. So they have the same ratio. Each of the corresponding pairs of corresponding sides, that is, have the same ratio. What we call this is proportionate. Okay, these are proportionate sides. They have the same ratio. That's what proportionate means. So that's side, side, side. And then we have side, angle, side, SAS. Okay, very similar to side, angle, side congruence. We have a congruent angle. And then kind of like this SSS similarity, we have pairs of sides, and they are also proportionate. Okay, so the sides on either side of the angle that we know, okay, and again that angle has to be in the middle, right? And the pairs of sides we know are proportionate, then that means the triangles are similar. Okay, if all three sides are proportionate, the triangles are similar, or if we have side, angle, side proportionality, then the triangles are similar. You may remember AAS, angle, angle, side, or angle, side, angle. For congruence, it's even simpler in similarity. It's just angle, angle. All you need to know is if two angles are congruent, so one angle here congruent to another, congruent to one angle here, and another angle congruent to another angle in the two triangles, then the triangles are similar. That's one of your simplest ways to know if triangles are similar. And then, of course, once you know two angles of a triangle, you can figure out the third. So we know those third ones are going to be congruent. Some people call it angle, 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 but it doesn't matter. All you really need is two. Okay, and right hypotenuse side, very similar to the congruence theorem, the congruence rule. If we have a right angle triangle with a right angle, and we have some sides, the hypotenuse has to include the hypotenuse. If the hypotenuse of this one is the ratio, that is, of the hypotenuse here to the hypotenuse there, A over P, if that's equal to the ratio of any other pair of sides, then we know that those triangles are going to be congruent. Those triangles will be similar, not necessarily congruent, but they'll be similar. Alright, so there's your rules for similarity. 4 different rules to tell whether triangles are similar or not. Then we need to be able to write a similarity statement, okay, much like a congruence statement. So if we have two triangles labeled by their angles, and we know that angle A is congruent to angle Q, so we can mark those ones congruent, and we also know angle C is congruent to angle R, and we mark those congruent, so those pairs of angles have the same measures. Okay, then we have angle-angle similarity. We know the triangles are similar. And then we can write a statement. We want to have a statement that says this triangle is similar to that triangle. So we use the triangle symbol, and we name the first triangle ABC. You could do CBA, you could do BCA or BAC, any combination you want. And then we need a symbol that means is similar to. There's two different ones. Okay, one is 3 vertical lines. Okay, 3 vertical lines means is similar to. Another way to do it is just a single squiggly line. Also means is similar to. It's totally up to you. Use whichever one you like. Okay, then we want to put a little triangle symbol, and we need to put we need to label the next triangle. Now, you can write the first one however you want, but the next one has to be in corresponding order. So, which side on the second triangle corresponds with A? Well, it's the one marked with a single arc, so that would be Q. Okay, and then B, which one lines up with B? It's the one that's not marked at all, so that would be P. Okay, and then obviously R goes last. Okay, and that's all there is to it. Best of luck, and see you next time.